Welcome back to the range, and today I'm going to review two junior air rifles. We've got the Gamo Delta Fox and the Hatsan Striker Junior, both of them in 177 and both retailing for about $130, around that figure. For you in the UK, that's 100 quid. Okay, so let's have a look at what's in them and in the box. This is the Gamo. Now, it comes with a sort of slightly tactical looking thumbhole stock. It's all plastic. What's interesting about this gun, it's very light, and we'll post the weight at the bottom of the screen. Now, it has the plastic barrel with the internal steel shroud, and I've always been very skeptical about this, whether these barrels would actually warp as you're using them and eventually sag like a big bowl of ice cream. Having said that, we've never had that issue with our customers coming back saying this is a piece of crap, the barrel's bent. So obviously these guns are not putting out a lot of power, 6 to 8 foot-pounds, not a lot. But you can see, if I just crank that, you can see the steel sleeve that's in this plastic barrel. Now, as an old-time shooter, I find this whole concept weird, but obviously it works for Gamo. This isn't the only gun that they've done like this. And for them, it obviously saves quite a lot of money. I mean, plastic's vastly cheaper than steel. For lower powered guns, then I'd say perhaps it's okay. We'll see how this shoots. Obviously, if the barrel doesn't warp as you're cocking it and so on, it should shoot as well as a metal barreled gun. But being a sort of more of a traditionalist, I find it a bit strange. Anyway, if we look at the front sight, it's a fixed front sight with quite a big thick blade and a fully adjustable rear sight up and down, left and right for windage. It has a ventilated recoil pad, which is solid as a rock, but it doesn't need to have any give in it because this gun is not going to have any recoil to speak of. And it has the safety just in front of the trigger, which I quite like that type of thing because, you know, you want to shoot something and you flick it and happy days, away you go. So we're going to compare this air rifle, this one, to, let me show you what's in the box first. Okay. And in the box is a little manual, a piece of paper with a serial number on it, and a bit of foam. And that's it. That's all you get. Nothing else from Gamo. So it is a budget air rifle. Once you've taken it out of the box, I guess you throw the box away and that's the end of that. Okay, let's look at the Hatsan. Right, the Hatsan. It is heavier. I'm thinking this is about a pound or so heavier. Has a more of a traditional looking stock. It's got a plastic trigger guard, plastic stock, and the metal barrel. Okay, it's got a covered front sight and with quite a chunky front sight, but it does have a red dot on it, whereas the Gamo simply is just a big black sight. It has a fully adjustable rear sight, and it has two little bits of fiber optic there, where you can actually, which will light up, and hopefully, yeah, it's actually really quite nice. Very much easier to see than the Gamo. Okay, it does have a rail on it. You can fit a scope 11mm rail, and it's got an arrestor just here. The safety is here on the back of the gun. So when you cock it, it'll be on safe, and then you can push this forward to fire. Okay, so let's look at the box. Right, now you've ordered this gun. What are you going to get? So with the Gamo, you get a bit of foam. So with Hatsan, you get a nice looking manual. Ooh, you get a box with something heavy in it. What is this? Oh, wow. You get a target card box. Thank you, Gamo. I didn't even know that was in there. That's very nice. Okay. You get a packet of target cards. They go into your target box. Quite nice little target cards, double targets thing. And you get some pellets from Pelicano. Top pellets made somewhere cheap. I don't know where these are from. Okay, they're not the best pellets, but hey, at least with a Gamo, when it arrives for Christmas, your kids can actually use it. Whereas with a Gamo, you forgot to order pellets and then they can't use it and they hate you forever. I hate them. So there's the if I was going to order one of these already, I'm thinking, oh, you know, Hatsan are giving me a lot more bang from a buck. Okay, so let's test the guns and see how they actually fare on the target. Hatsan on the left, the Gamo on the right, and then we'll compare them, 10 shots each. Okay, so the pellets we're using, remember both these guns are 177. These pellets are Diablo Field from Air Arms. Air Arms do really good quality pellets, we really like them. We're going to run 10 through this Hatsan first and see how we get on. So, loaded up the gun, like that. Right, what I've done is I've turned the target around, I've marked a cross on it because it's so much easier to see where you're shooting with that cross, whereas you're shooting into the black at 15 yards, it's impossible to see where actually you're shooting. Now remember, these are new guns, we've never shot them before, we haven't adjusted the sights, straight out of the box. So what I'm looking for is some sort of relatively decent grouping. Quite a lot of recoil out of that, a little Hatsan. Okay, so we've put a few shots down range. Let's make sure the gun's safe, nothing in it, the gun's cracked. So let's go and have a look at our grouping and see how we did. Okay, so that's our grouping at 15 yards. Obviously I'm aiming for here, but we can see with the sights as they're set up from the factory, this is what we're getting. Now I don't like the sights on the Hatsan. They are very chunky, or the front sights are very chunky. And if you're trying to really pinpoint accuracy, a big, fat, chunky sight is almost impossible to use. It's fine for kids. I mean, if you were shooting tin cans, yeah, you better shoot tin cans. But for all of you guys who shoot air rifles and shoot them well, I know there's a lot of you out there, you want to be punching that out every time. Obviously, with a cheap spring gun, that's not going to happen, but it would be nice to be able to get a sort of 1-inch group, 2-centimeter group would be reasonable. It's very hard to do with that sight. So now I'm going to fire the Gamo into here, and we'll see how the grouping goes with that. The Gamo sight, I think, is even worse than the Hatsan sight. And again, we'll find out in a minute how that shoots. I don't understand why these gun manufacturers don't make a nice, fine sight instead of these huge, chunky post sights that are just hopeless. Anyway, the nice thing is they're super easy to file down, put a bit of white paint on there, and actually fine-tune the sights so your kid can shoot accurately. Okay, so let's crack the Gamo with their plastic barrel. Well, firstly, it cocks a lot easier and there's loads less power in this. The Hatsan had surprising amounts of recoil. This thing, I'm thinking is going to have very little recoil because it's definitely way less power in this than the Hatsan. Okay, there's our safety. We're going to push that forward to shoot. Okay, so this is out of the box. Let's see how we do. Okay, so actually, from the front sight on this is better. Okay, so when you cock this gun, okay, so let's do this again. Okay, I'm going to load it again, and I think, unlike the Hatsan, okay, yeah, so this doesn't have an automatic safety. The safety, once it's off, it's off. Whereas the Hatsan, every time you cock it, it slides back into safe. Now, that's a nice feature, I think, for junior shooters where they've got to think about the gun being loaded, think about the safety. This thing, none of that. It's once it's off, it's off. Well, one thing I do notice straight off is the trigger of the Hatsan is much nicer than the Gamo. It's a much nicer trigger. And this Gamo's got a very heavy trigger. So that's not particularly nice. So 7 rounds for the Gamo. As I say, we've just taken that out of the box and we haven't adjusted the sights at all. So what we're looking for is actually the group size. Now, if you take that flower away from the Hatsan, obviously that's not a bad little group. This, they're flying. There's the first 2 in there. So not particularly good. The trigger's very heavy on the Gamo, although the gun's light. It seems to be putting out a lot less power. I say it's probably 6 or 8 foot-pounds versus 8 or 12 out of the Hatsan. The Hatsan, you've got a lot more accessories in the box. So if you're going to buy a present for a kid who's just starting to shoot and going to shoot tin cans and stuff, I would definitely buy the Hatsan. While it's a bit heavier, then it just comes with so much more in the box. As far as the two guns go, there's no, as far as accuracy goes, I mean, there's not much to choose between them, but again, the sights are terrible on both guns. And it's really a shame. Somebody puts all this effort into making a gun that does a job, and then they put the most atrocious sights on them. And I don't know why you do that when you can put a really nice sight on it. Anyway, it is what it is. For me, the Hatsan does win the day. The Gamo, much easier to cock for a junior shooter. It's easier to cock. I'm skeptical about the plastic barrel. I think if you're using it a lot, maybe if you're using it a lot in a hot climate, you'd find that barrel starts to warp and move, and it would be very difficult to get it accurate. So I hope you enjoyed our review of these. Remember, we are giving away, every month we're giving away a gun or a scope or something that we review, and we just gave away a Snow Peak air rifle. If you go back to our video, you'll be able to see that, and if you subscribe, you'll be in line to win it, if it's legal to receive it in your part of the world, wherever that is. So I hope you enjoy our videos, and we'll see you soon.